good afternoon or good morning where I come from. My name is Thomas Martin. I'm a solution engineer with Calix for about 7 years. You hear the accent, it's not really American. I'm based in Austria. I'm part of what we call the global team. So I'm covering the territories outside of the Americas and Caribbean. I wouldn't mind the Caribbean though, but I get the other parts, like Middle East as well. Before this, I was 15 years in Cisco, and my focus was the last 20 years on access. And being an engineer, it's very tempting to talk about technologies, the latest and greatest and standards, but the best technology today is of no use if you don't put in a proper perspective to monetize on it. Engineers love their bells and whistles and knobs and tune, but in the end, we're in there to make business with our network infrastructure. So I want to do a little less technical discussion, more about what we see in the market, where it's heading, especially on the subscriber side. The last years, we've been very busy with building fat pipes. We started with DSL, the DSL upgrades, then came the first GPON networks, BPON actually at Verizon as being the pioneer, and then more and more gigabit services. So we can assume that in a majority of our deployments, we have the pipe at the gates. American installation outside on the garage wall, European installation inside. But then comes actually the subscriber connectivity, and the days of tethered devices are gone. This is our main device in the shape of a phone or tablet. There's nowhere an Ethernet port. So how can I actually get as much of the gigabit as possible to these devices? And these devices are the biggest frustration of subscribers, because this is my main access, and it's not always the best connectivity. So owning the connected home becomes really an imperative to the service provider. Creating a positive experience is equal to higher customer retention, because the worst thing which can happen is churn, and we don't want this for our customers and for service providers. So the connected home is happening. It is happening in many ways, with simple gateways which have Wi-Fi, checkbox sticks. I'm there with Wi-Fi, I provide basic connectivity. But just because a home is connected doesn't make it smart or easy to manage actually. Because Wi-Fi is just a means to get there. But the further you remove yourself from your radio, the bigger the troubles are, the more your performance drops. So subscribers are frustrated, especially in the first wave where you had simple gateways in the homes, gateways with no extensions. Subscribers got really angry about performance. So they started to do self-remedy. They said, okay, the modem I have doesn't work. I go to Fry's, I help myself. In this room, probably we are doing a good job because we have an idea what we are talking about as engineers or as technical people, but the average subscriber has no IT pedigree. They buy this great, let's say, Asus box with 8 antennas. They think that must be good, $400, put it at home, and it's not really a remedy because they don't know what they're doing or how to achieve their goal of good connectivity. So creating the experience has mixed results. If we look at the landscape of connected home, we see, especially in the US with the large houses and apartments, about 22% of households are using extenders to a certain degree, also successfully. 37% of the subscribers polled amongst our customers saying that at least once a week they have a slow internet performance. I think Wi-Fi is more a marketing term. The normal subscriber doesn't make a difference between internet and Wi-Fi. My phone connects poorly, my tablet doesn't connect properly. So broken down, about 37% have Wi-Fi issues. 11% of the households have whole home mesh Wi-Fis. It's a small percentage, and this creates a big opportunity for service providers to enter the home, to offer mesh services and provide a whole home coverage. So there's a big business potential there. And this is, I think, a very conservative number. About 50% calls to the help desk are Wi-Fi related. I met with a customer in the UK 2 weeks ago at a conference. They have 80% of the calls related to Wi-Fi issues. Directly or indirectly, the uneducated customer doesn't call up and say, my Wi-Fi coverage is poor. The first thing they say is, internet is slow, internet doesn't work. Equaling bad experience, and you are to blame. But there's a lot of reasons why they actually have a poor experience, and most of the reasons are not a service provider's fault. So it's something which needs to be addressed. And if service providers don't react to provide this experience, there are others standing at the gates, the big names. They are ready to take over the home, and they're doing it already in small steps. You know, the Apple HomeKits, the Google Home, the Nest environment. They are willing to substitute the lack of experience with their own products. So Amazon has recently bought a Wi-Fi provider called Erie. They bought Ring doorbells for $2 billion, you know, and this was a one-product company back then. Google coming in with a Wi-Fi solution with smart home solutions, and Samsung with their SmartThings ecosystem. So there are managed services available and penetrating the market. The problem is if a customer takes this up, then we have this happening. Service providers become degraded to a pipe provider. You provide the gigabit pipe with all the quality of service, the lowest latency, whatever, but you're still a pipe. The experience, the final connection, the interaction with the customer is provided by someone else. So the experience is then done by the Amazons, Googles, Samsungs of the world, and with this the pipe becomes replaceable. Granted, not all the regions you're covering have overbuilt. I have a colleague, he lives on the west coast of Ireland, sparsely populated area, and he has 2 fiber providers in his street. It's crazy, you know, you dig a street up twice. Business-wise, it's madness, but he has a choice between 2 fiber providers. So if one doesn't deliver the performance, he can shift easily. And if you're reduced to a pipe functionality, providing gigabit speed, either you have a business model which is completely optimized to deliver speed at very competitive prices, or you get challenges on margins or even on churn. So it's time to take back the home, or arrange yourself, in some cases, with the big players. Be part of the experience. Be the front end to the customer. So chasing the opportunity, I mentioned it earlier, is more for reference. Amazon bought Eero. We have the Google ecosystem there. So the market is being taken over by the big players. So how does it affect you? It affects you, as I said, not only on the transport side. You're no longer the interface to the customer. You provide a UNI, another ecosystem sits on top of that. But also it creates what we call the circle of problems. Because some service providers actually say, if I don't deliver Wi-Fi, 50% of my help desk calls are gone. My life gets much better. You know, I have less problems with the Wi-Fi issues, and let Amazon deal with it. And I just focus on delivering speed. But reality is a little bit different. We get our circle of problems. Problem occurs, most of the time Wi-Fi related. Subscriber doesn't get a managed Wi-Fi offer from his provider, goes to the retail store, buys the Google thing, or buys even some no-name brand because it's on sale. Then subscriber sets up the retail product, not an IT professional, mixed outcomes. Can work, he can be super lucky to find the right spot, or most likely problems continue because they actually have no background on to know how to position the Wi-Fi. And what happens then? There is mostly no phone numbers or live people to talk to on the retail side. They call you. So you get the same pain minus the revenue which actually provides the managed Wi-Fi. They're calling you, limited visibility because you have no idea about the gateway, you have no remote access to it, you don't see the Wi-Fi. It's either you reject the call, which is customer satisfaction impacting, or you send a truck roll for something you didn't sell in the first place. So it's like a catch-22. So how do we remedy this? By offering a managed Wi-Fi as part of the internet offering. Clearly defining the service, highlighting through marketing the benefits of a whole home coverage to the customer, and especially in a service-oriented society like the States, people are actually willing to pay for services. In Europe, we have a different mentality. We think with the $30 we pay, we should get everything. And if you say, I want $5 more, it's a discussion. But here, I think the market is more accepted to paying for a service well delivered. So managed Wi-Fi is really the foundation to provide seamless connectivity to our wireless devices. In itself, this already has a positive impact on subscriber satisfaction and on the experience. But this is only the foundation. We can go further with creating revenues on top of that. So one thing is, it's to provide infrastructure, and infrastructure moves from the fiber onto the managed Wi-Fi, but it's also to understanding what our subscribers are actually doing with the connectivity and how I can serve them better. So we need insight into the home network. It doesn't mean we read your mail or we read data packets, we read patterns. Yeah? So we look at applications used, we can determine if it's teleworker, if it's a gamer, if it's a lot of video conference, if it's streamers. So we get this basic data, and this is data you already have from connectivity in your network, IP routing. We just put a name to the packets flowing to the network. This is a foundation to get a better idea about the subscriber, and then catering to the requirements. First requirement, I want to be connected, not tethered to a device. I don't want to run with a 20-meter cables or 25-yard cable through my home to have connectivity on the phone. I want seamless. I want wireless without the worries. I want to be on my porch and do in summer what I'm doing from home, my teleconference, sitting on the porch without having a performance impact or having to activate my hotspot. I want coverage everywhere. I want to go to my barbecue area, I want to be in my den upstairs, I want to have the same experience. And then I want a smart home. I want to have one contact to deal with my needs. The needs are the basic needs of Wi-Fi coverage, but they extend into home automation from thermostats over security systems. And ideally, we have one platform providing this. I have one contact who takes away all my problems. And with this, of course, it's a tighter connection to you. You're no longer replaceable easily because part of my connectivity and experience is directly linked to your services. So what does it's going to take? Target the right subscribers, inside understanding about their requirements through analytics, enabling customer care. Have automation in your help desk. When the customer calls up, ideally his record shows up and basic tests already have been performed on their line speed, on utilization of their subscription, up to basic Wi-Fi triage. So whenever the call comes in, screen pops up, you have already a guided tour through the situation in the home network. Reduces the call time and makes you more knowledgeable. The customer has someone who is already aware of his issues. You know, it's a way different way to start a conversation, by being already in the know instead of asking basic questions. Empowering subscribers. Find a way to abstract the complexity of the network on the tip of a finger, mobile app, so they can do basic maintenance. But not engineering maintenance, simple things like taking a picture of the QR code of the device. This is your link to the device. Being asked for network name and password instead of SSID, TKIP, AES. You know, simplifying and using routines they use on the daily life on the phone. To have an empowerment there. Customers have an overview of the network, they see connected devices, they see automated speed tests, and they have control without actually knowing what they're doing. That's a key imperative. And with this, you actually own the experience. Every time I open the app, your logo looks at me. It's a communication channels to the service provider's customer, and the customer knows that it is you who provide the connectivity. It's just a little marketing on top of that. So how do we target the right subscribers? We see by doing the analytics, by looking at the different segments over gamers, streamers, teleworkers, we can actually, or we see from our customers to have about average 23% increased revenue because you do targeted advertisement. You shoot out targeted messages about VPN services, public IP addresses, you name it in terms of packages, way greater return because the customer feels that he's understood what he needs. And we also see about 30% in marketing OpEx reduction. Not necessarily an engineer's problem, but an overall bottom line advantage. You know, if I can target my messaging in time and group, of course I spend less of my budget than if I do a shotgun blast through the room. Important to get there is visibility into the gateway. Have agents in the gateway which can provide you with analytics. Most important, of course, Wi-Fi. To have Wi-Fi diagnostic tools in there, communicating to a cloud application where you can do remote monitoring, automated adjustments, but also to provide connectivity information. And really connectivity, source destination addresses, not the data. And from connectivity alone, you can, or the tool learns a lot about the behavior and the required services. Going to the app, this is actually a mock-up app. Tomorrow we will have a big launch on subscriber experience for those who attend the conference, and then we will see a little bit more than just a circle. It's really your brand at the fingertip. There's no Calix branding on the device, on the app. It's all about the service provider. Your color schemes, your logo, your communication. There's a push channel built in where you can send information to the subscribers. So it becomes the communication tool between service provider and subscriber. Simple onboarding, simple network management, guest network, user pass, on, off, speed testing, very important, especially in the Wi-Fi world. It's more of an eye chart. The younger eyes can probably see this, 68.89, up, 41.26 down. The app is talking to the device, and the device regularly checks its WAN speed. So let's say this is an odd number. Let's say this would be a 100 megabit service. We can see that our device reaches that speed. So if I do my speed test from a phone, I have probably poorer numbers because of Wi-Fi. Always revert to the app and see what is the actual WAN speed. So you're taking away a part of the dissatisfaction by proving my gateway has the full speed, so we must have a wireless issue, as opposed to relying on a wireless device to prove the speed, which is always a challenge. So it gives you a user interface, a messaging channel, plus basic triage capabilities, all in the hands of your subscriber. So owning the experience through these steps, we are ending our famous or infamous circle of problems. We have a problem occurring, customer care has already the diagnostic from the premises. It can do a very targeted, tailored response. There's artificial intelligence providing bubbles to the operator about what to speak to, about reason, possible solutions from upsell to mesh, upsell of speed. So it's a guided experience for your help desk operator. The service provider can remotely fix the Wi-Fi problems. We have access to the radios, we can adjust the channels, the power levels, and such. And so we get a very high rate of non-truck roll fixes. Shorter time to resolve, happier customers. The fewer we meet a customer, the fewer times, the better for the bottom line. We all love our customers, but the time I visit him, I'm actually losing money. So if you can do this remotely up front, it is better on the service profitability and on the satisfaction of the customer. So the future is really about subscribers. In the past, we always, outed myself earlier, 20 years in the industry, we always talked about the last mile. You know, we are building the big cores, we're building the aggregation networks, we build the last mile network. But actually the last mile has to be the first mile from our mindset, because the core is not paying for the service, it's the end user on the first mile. And that should be the center of our design and of our service delivery. So the future is really looking after the experience of this person, the human behind the network, behind the first mile. And this requires a change in perspective. The old mindset, and I have this a lot in Europe, we have a lot of Chinese competitors as well. Chinese are known for very creative pricing. There's a mindset, I need 5,000 ONTs. Chinese ONT is, let's say, 30, the Calix ONT or the American ONT is 40. I go with 30 because 30 times 5,000 under the bottom is less than the other one. But this is the old set where you buy by CapEx, where you're just going for a checkbox. Yes, it has a PON port for Ethernet, it has Wi-Fi, whatever is behind that. The mindset has to change into cost of ownership, and in cost of operations. So it has to go onto a platform where it can offer services beyond connectivity, where it can offer experience. So the new approach is a little bit like razors. You choose a razor system, then you choose your blades, the blades which have integrated lubrication or which vibrate, whatever, and you choose it when you need it. And so we are coming up with a software solution, or we came up, where we project this on the home network. So we assume, and Calix is doing managed Wi-Fi for about 5 years now, 4 to 5 years. We say managed Wi-Fi is the foundation. There should be no dispute anymore to go this direction. But now it's time to monetize it. First, monetization definitely is increased experience, less churn, but now build on this platform. Go beyond. What is the subscriber's requirement? Protection, child protection, parental control, network security, be it firewalling services, be it VPN services, and then going further and further over the time into home automation. Why do I need 5 different hubs to talk to my washing machine, to my blinds, and so on? Why can't I combine it and be the provider of this experience? And then, of course, heating, home monitoring, and such. So the new gateways are the platform for the future services. The first thing is definitely as an upsell parental control. It's big on the mindset of people these days. And in the old days, it was just your kid can surf from 8 to 8. And that was about the granularity you had. It goes deeper these days into applications, into time, into websites. And I'm getting very close to the end of my time. But being the first speaker, my prerogative is to go over. How do we achieve this? Of course, there's a physical gateway, and you will see plenty of them over the next days. But the gateway is just the connector. It has the antennas, it has the ports, it has the radios. But what actually delivers the service is the running software on it. And it's like an operating system. It's time to look at the gateway as a complex system. Like we choose, I got a Mac today after 20 years of PCs. Somebody makes a conscious choice between a Linux, Windows, or a Mac OS because of the promises, services, and the experience. So we believe that a unifying operating system provides the experience and becomes hardware agnostic. Because today we have a Calix GigaSpire. You might have a customer who needs a 5G WAN, like Verizon speaking earlier, but you want the same user experience independent of the physical connectivity. How do we achieve it? To our EXOS operating system, which builds on a modular architecture. There's a unifying kernel, which has the actual hardware drivers for this radio, that WAN interface. And on top of this, we are running our common application packages, gateway services, Wi-Fi management. And we have also slots where we can run customized software in Linux containers. So service providers can actually create their own applications and load them onto gateways to have even more personalized services. The whole thing is managed by a cloud system. We call it microservice aggregation platform. This is the monitoring and the monetization of the services. Here I can decide which customer gets Alexa, who gets IoT services, parental control, or who subscribes to it, so I can do the billing. You get the slide, so this is for your reference in terms of ecosystems. We have Calix applications. We are already Amazon certified for Alexa, and you will see over the next few days these clouds filling up as well with partners and applications running on the gateway. So closing, I go through the animation quickly. Our marketing is very creative. Really, our vision is to enable services beyond connectivity, to not only enhance the customer experience, which equals to increased loyalty, but also to have analytics to make more tailored services and more targeted offerings to the customers. The platform is our EXOS operating system, the modular system, and manifested through our GigaSpire. This is a state-of-the-art gateway showing the possibilities you can put into gateways. From Wi-Fi 6 with 8 antennas, full mesh support, to IoT radios for Zigbee, Z-Wave, Bluetooth, to an Alexa certified speaker. So you can talk to your service provider. Alexa, tell my service provider to run a speed test. These kind of things. It's the next generation of interaction. So I hope I kept some thoughts to you how to treat subscribers in the future. And with this, I thank you.
Okay, thanks, Thomas.